What if the Avengers came out in 1995? Who would be in that cast? Well, we are going to answer those questions in this special fan casting episode. I'm Brody, joined at the top by Tudong Dylan.
Hey,
And sandwiched right in between us is Charlie Hickman.
just like a sandwich.
All right, so we're going to be fan casting the original cast of the 2012 Avengers, but with as if it was taking place in 1995. So people in 1995 at those ages in 1995. I had a lot of fun doing this. How was this for you guys?
It was fun. It was challenging, but it was fun. It's like it's a lot of great actors, and it's hard to kind of whittle them down. And it was really hard to resist the urge of saying, hey, who'd be a great Iron Man? How about just a young Robert Downey Jr., like that young Sam Jackson fella? He might be great in this role. So I try to limit myself to actors who are not already Avengers. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, you would have gotten some flack from us for that.
Yeah, that you would have gotten flack from. Yes.
How about you, Tudong?
I actually went extremely un-Tudong, and I decided to look at who was really, popular at the time, making the most kind of money, that kind of a thing. They're successful, and I gotta say, pretty good actors.
Okay, that's kind of where I was. I was going for like people that I was going for similar ages to the ages of the actors in Avengers, and then looking for more mainstream highlight folks, because we have done fan castings previously for like future franchises. We did Fantastic Four, we did X-Men, but sometimes those are hard to do because we don't know all these young up and coming actors. But if we do it in 1995, we can see all these people in hindsight. So let's go ahead, let's get into it. So the order today is going to be me, and then Tudong, and then Charlie. So Charlie, I hope you got the good ones, because you're going to be the last one that everybody remembers.
You guys you're gonna hate my list. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
Well, let's get into it. So my Iron Man, I was really proud of this one because I went through a couple different, and then came up with this fella, and I thought he is so good, and that's Pierce Brosnan.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So Pierce Brosnan was 42 years old in 1995. Robert Downey Jr. was 46. So he's even a little bit younger. And in 1995, he did Goldeneye. And so you've already kind of got that like Tony Stark-esque, dressing fancy, drinking some drinks, smudging with the ladies, just
smudging?
Smudging.
How does one smudge with what is
smudging?
Like
how does one smudge?
their glasses, or?
No, he's smudging.
Excuse me, but may I touch your glass until my fingerprints are everywhere?
Smudging. Yes, I just made it up, but that's okay.
No, I like it.
I'm going with it. It's too late to go back. It's too late to go back. He's smudging with the ladies.
He's smudging with the ladies.
I don't know what word I was going for, but smudging is what came out. So
smushing.
Smushing.
Smudging. I like.
I don't know. But yeah, I was like, oh man, he's pretty much playing Tony Stark as it is. He's got the action stuff. And he looks great. Just put a mustache on him, because this was 1995. I was also trying to go for like the comic book kind of versions, and so he'd have to just have the mustache. No goatee yet. No goatee, just the stash. So,
that's a good pick. That's a pick I would have thought Charlie would have gotten.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't seen my list yet.
That's true.
Oh,
that's a good point.
Well, let's move on so we can see that list. Tudong, who's your Iron Man?
I do love me some P. Brosnan. I
know you do. I know you do. I thought you would have this, but apparently not.
Now, I went exceedingly mainstream, and you cannot have Iron Man without, was it Superior Iron Man?
Sure.
But he didn't do that. So I went Tom Cruise. I found a picture where he was looking like Tony Stark. He's got the goatee, made a little beard, a little longer hair in that helmet. I don't care. I would have. I mean, I think especially back in '95, it would have been really fun to see him as Iron Man. It still would be, as coming in as superior Iron Man. That would just be great. Just
He
be
was
fun.
young. How old was he in 1995?
I didn't actually go on ages. I'll be completely honest. I had no, I don't, I have no idea. He's younger, obviously.
He was in his
He's like
30s. He was like
he's in his
36 or
30s.
something. I'll look that up.
Okay,
though, for sure.
okay. I
But
thought
hey,
about Tom Cruise. It was so tempting.
I couldn't help it. It was too tempting. It was too tempting for me. I was smudging all over the place.
He was 33.
33.
It works.
I
He
think
could
I
do
looked that
it.
up, and he was too
Like,
young
a
for me.
cocky, inventor.
Robert Downey Jr. was 46, man.
He was 46 in 95.
No, in 2012.
He was the same age as Robert Downey Jr. Or close if he's not. But either way, the point is,
What?
yeah, this is my choice. I like this choice. As soon as I saw this picture, I was like, how could I not? How could I not go with this choice?
I do love the idea of Tom Cruise as Tony Stark.
Yeah, I like the age. I try to match some ages, but I definitely took some liberties because I mean it's not like the ages are canon or whatever. It just happens to be the ages of the actors they picked. You guys both had great answers here, and quite frankly,
boy.
if I was
Oh boy,
if I'm being
here we
honest,
go.
if I'm being honest, you guys have the correct answers. These are
Okay.
great. These are infinitely better answers than my choice. But
Okay.
because I'm saying that, it's the reason they're wrong for the role.
Oh,
So
okay.
when Iron Man was announced and it was going to be Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. wasn't Robert Downey Jr. as we know him today. It was like he was he was a good actor. He'd had some problems with battles with drugs and other things that had kind of derailed his career some. And people were worried.
boy.
People were nervous. Like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man? Like what? Like people's minds were blowing. People were skeptical.
Yeah.
True.
And so when I say my guy and then you show the picture, you're going to be like, oh, I don't know
boy.
about that. And that's the exact reaction that I'm going for here. That's what we want in an Iron Man. We want it to not work, but also work. And you got to squint a little bit.
Okay.
Another fun thing about my list is since we're playing alternate histories, I thought like if I cast Tom Cruise, then who's doing Mission? He's not doing Mission Impossible because he's going to be in this franchise. And I like
True.
Mission Impossible, so I can't cast Tommy in this. I cast Pierce Brosnan, then he's not James Bond, right? I gotta. I'm still the history
That's
of what
okay.
happens next mattered to me. So I kind of tried to seek out actors who I thought they should have been a bigger star, and they weren't. Like
Oh,
good old.
okay.
Go ahead and put the picture up. See if you guys can recognize him.
Okay,
Hey, it's Michael Biehn. Yeah, that's great.
Michael Biehn, right? Okay, Brody. See, look at your skeptical face. This is okay. You're skeptical. You're right to be skeptical.
Yep.
Michael Biehn should have been a huge star.
Yeah.
A huge
Terminator,
star.
that performance, come on.
He was fantastic in the Terminator. Fantastic in Aliens.
Aliens.
Fantastic in The Abyss.
Yes.
Fantastic in a bad movie, Navy SEALs with the with the Charlie Sheen.
Oh yeah.
The movie's not fantastic, but Johnny Ringo. I mean, come on, he's got charisma. From Tombstone, by the way, he's got charisma. He's got the mustache. He's got the action movie chops. He has this way. You watch Terminator, and he has a kind of like a soulful brokenness to him. Look, have I seen him be like extremely funny on film? Probably not. But
Yeah.
that's like, but I've seen him in interviews. He's a charming fellow, and
Okay.
he can yuck up some laughs. Is he the perfect Iron Man? Probably, it's hard. Like it's hard to do this in retro because it's like you're kind of like you're living in the shadow of who's already come before.
Okay.
He's not going to. I wanted someone who'd be a little bit different than Robert Downey Jr. because no one's going to be Robert Downey Jr. but Robert Downey. So this to me was like someone who could look the part and someone who deserved a better career than the one that they ended up having. Someone who also struggled with abuse, drug abuse, just like Robert Downey. Someone who just missed out on the roles of Martin Riggs in Lethal Weapon and just missed out on the lead role in Speed. So I mean, he couldn't quite catch that break. He couldn't quite get over the hump. So Michael Biehn, come on down. I'm giving you your break. James Cameron and I both love you dearly. And this is your time to shine, buddy. Take that beautiful mustache.
You know what? I think this is a good pick.
Choice.
This one didn't even cross my path. I don't know. Never considered it. Never thought of it. So I'll take it as good.
I would never in a million years even think of it. So there we go.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
No, I think this is a good pick. I think it's a good pick.
It's a good.
How old was he? How old was he here?
he was like 39, pushing 40, like around
Okay.
that time.
Okay.
So like it would have been like, a little younger than Robert, but like still like mature enough, I think, to kind of handle the gravitas of the role. But
Sure.
also the
Sure.
Yeah.
role started earlier than Avengers, right? So he could have started back a little young and kind of grown into it. So
Okay. Cool.
and we don't
It's
lose you
interesting
don't lose
because
any
Robert
classic
Downey
heroes in that.
Jr. and Pierce Brosnan and I mean, like Tom Cruise. Obviously, they got a lot of different kinds of baggage in Michael Biehn. So this really would have been a really cool choice. Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
good choice.
And we can move on really fast, but come on, how good was The Abyss? That's such a we never talk about The
It
Abyss.
was
That's such a
I
fucking
know.
good movie.
It's a really good movie.
Very, and
All
he was
right.
excellent. I forgot it was him.
Next, we have our Thor.
Oh
So
man, I cannot wait to see your
my
Thors.
Thor.
Your
Oh, I
Thor.
remember who my Thor is. It's a young Russell Crowe as
Oh,
Thor. Look
okay.
at that
Interesting.
in The Quick and the Dead. He's
You went
got this
Australian,
longer
huh?
kind of blonder hair. Yeah, he's got the accent.
Mhm.
He could pull that off. We he so Chris Hemsworth was 29 when he did Thor, when he did Avengers. I'm sorry, and Russell Crowe was 31 in 1995.
Oh,
In 1995, he did Quick and the Dead. He did Virtuosity. He did No Way Back. He did Rough Magic. He was a busy guy in 1995. Kind of this he was getting big. And then just a few years later, he did Gladiator. So we know that he could kind of
yeah.
bulk. We know that he could do the action. He could do the physical stuff. A couple years earlier, I think he would have been a really cool Thor. There you go.
Okay, I didn't think of that. That's good.
I like
It
that,
is
Kevin.
good.
I like
It is good.
that.
I know
I
it's
like that. I like
good.
that you went with the Australian. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. You might as well, right? You might as well.
True.
All
Good
right.
point.
Tudong, who's your Thor?
Well, I'll be honest. My Thor, I originally was going to have this actor. I was just locked in on Captain America, locked in, locked in. And then I found this picture, and I was like, okay, this has got to be Thor. Throw it up, bro. My choice, Brad Pitt as Thor.
Oh,
Look at that hair.
interesting.
You know he can bulk up and
Interesting.
get like muscles and all that kind of stuff. He's not 6 feet, but he's like 5'10", 5'11". Perfect. And he's huge. He's got the hair. He's got the muscles. He's got the looks. I swear, the whole time I was like, "This is totally my Captain America. It's not even a worry about it. It's perfect." And and then I saw this, and I was just like, "Oh no, no! I got it. He's Thor. Look at that. He looks like Thor. He's got
He
his long
does
hair.
look like
He had his
Thor.
hair long back then."
It's true. Wow, this is a good pick.
Mm-hmm. Like I said,
I
totally
can
was
see it.
going Captain America the entire time until I saw this pick. I was looking for different actors, and I was like, maybe I'll just skip to Captain America. And I was looking also at Thor, and then I saw this, and I was like, oh, gee,
No,
nope,
it's it.
no,
I think it's a good call. Good call.
thank you.
All right,
But
Charlie.
we might not have gotten him in the Devil's Own though in '97. So
Oh,
who would
Ooh,
then need the money, Tom?
it's true.
Uh, he was busy in '95. If this casting gets him out of the movie Seven, then I'm all for it because he was not great in that. But that's okay. He was trying really hard. You could see him trying really hard in real time. If Brad Pitt could take his acting chops that he developed in like his later life and put them into like the Thor character, I'd be all in because I think he's like one of those actors who just got increasingly better at his craft.
right.
And like in
Mhm.
the end, you could see him like trying really hard to be serious, and then as he got older, I think he kind of embraced some of the variety of his personality, like his silliness and his comedy chops, and even his dramatic deliveries just got more and more interesting as he got older. Like you would go back and try to watch Cool World or some of his really young work, and he's very stiff, very wooden, very uncomfortable. But this is a great pick. This is a classic pick. It's a way better pick than my pick.
All right, what
Let's
is
hear
your
it.
pick?
Speaking of your pick,
This may be one, but to be fair, I went pretty conventional here.
Okay.
And so for my pick, I wanted to find someone. I'm not opposed to having people who have had some like success up to this point in their career. But like I said, maybe the career didn't quite go as planned after this, or maybe it went exactly how they planned it, but not how I planned it. So my actor here had a fantastic career with like hit after hit, great movie, underappreciated, underrated actor, and he passed away recently. And so I wanted to, put him on the list, pay a little homage, and that's Mr. Val Kilmer
Mm,
as Thor himself. If you've seen Willow, you know he can pull off
interesting.
the kind of like warriory, sarcastic, comedic chops. Good action actor. Got the look, got picture him with a beard, drinking beer. I mean, like he just such a good actor, such a good
Yeah.
actor. And like
So
that
good.
really mattered. I think on it sounds like it's going to really matter for all our lists. That was something that I really thought about long and hard. I mean, to see the chameleon like performances that he did, like as Jim
Mhm.
Morrison and other roles in his younger age. But his career, like after '95, like Heat in '95, maybe the best heist movie of all time. And then after that, what Kiss
Besides,
Kiss
besides
Bang Bang in
Batman
2000.
Forever. Besides Batman
Okay,
Forever.
that's not a heist movie.
It's not.
No, but this gets him out of Batman. This is the other
Yeah.
upshot.
Oh,
That's
He's
true.
doing
I'm
this instead
aware.
of Batman. So yeah, you're no. See, the Batman Forever doesn't even happen.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Oh,
I can't wait for Jim Carrey to be your Loki. By the way, Brody. Tommy Lee Jones to be your Nick Fury. I can't wait. I just can't wait for your full
wow.
Batman Forever cast that's coming.
Tommy Lee
No, but
Jones
yeah,
is my
I don't know. I
Captain
think
America.
really like you could put 2000 or you could put 1995 Val like in any of these roles and he'd probably be
Sure.
great.
Yeah.
Just because he's just such a talented, versatile actor. But I would love to see him just like having fun in a role and just getting to like really like yuck it up and just I missed Val in that like post mid '90s and it
Yeah.
was so great to have him back for a little while in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and then I guess
Yes.
maybe his role in MacGruber
MacGruber?
was pretty good.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was great and MacGruber's that's not a good movie but it's funny. uh,
All right. Moving on. Now we have Black Widow. I went through a couple gals before I landed on one. When I discovered The Age, it was The Age that really sold it. And that is Nicole Kidman. Okay, this gets her out of Batman Forever, for one thing. Okay.
She
Also-
deserved to be in Batman Forever.
No,
For
no,
sure.
she doesn't.
You're
No,
on the Batman Forever wavelength.
no. If I can get rid of that movie at all, I will. All right. Nicole
Take it
Kidman.
down.
Scarlett Johansson was 28 years old in 2012. Nicole Kidman, 28 years old in 1995. So yeah, she was in Batman Forever and she was To Die For in 1995 with that little kind of seductress. Look at that red curly hair. Come on, Tudong. I see you. Do you not like Nicole
Bro,
Kidman?
you get a permanent. Perfect. That's all you need in that way.
I love
I don't
Nicole
really care
Kidman.
for her. She's
I think she's great.
okay. Well, I mean, I'm just like she is definitely not my favorite actress, or one I even enjoy watching usually. But besides that, that's a great pick. That'd be a
Oh,
tall
thank
Black
you.
Widow. If she was
And-
Black Widow in mine, then that would be. It's already going to be awkward with Brad Pitt as Thor.
He's just towering over Tom. Poor Tom Cruise as Iron Man, and so we all really look up to you.
He's not my Iron Man though, so it's okay.
That's true. That's true.
That's true.
Um,
That's true. It's true.
But yeah,
she
no,
can hang with Pierce.
I'm
I'm only
who
laughing because I just know Dylan's feelings on her. This would be like if you pulled up Winona Ryder as your.
You know who I almost had? I actually had her in here.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, now I'm blanking on her name. Who was it? The gal from Underworld. Underworld. What was it?
Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale. I had Kate Beckinsale in there. She was in movies in 1995. She was only 22 years old. She was quite young.
Too young.
It was a bit too young, so I opted for Nicole Kidman, who was just a couple years old. But I was happy with this pick. So, Tudong,
Hey,
She's
Tell
had,
us-
she's had a very impressive career.
give us
he has had.
a better Black Widow then.
Yeah, I will give you a better Black Widow.
I'll give you
Mine from '95. I remember back when I was watching movies back then, and I remember a great movie. Well, a very entertaining movie called Desperado. So my pick is Salma Hayek, and I'm not saying that she's the best actress. I'm not even saying that I really enjoy her acting, but I thought to myself, what? I mean, it would just be. This is one of those where I'm like, this is kind of interesting. I'd like to see what exactly she would do with this part because it's a spy. They have to play like multiple different kinds of things like this. And I was like, you know what? I'd like to see what a young Salma Hayek back then, when she was like putting her all into all sorts of effort into like, her acting and all that kind of thing. I'd like to see what she would have done with this kind of a thing.
Interesting. I hadn't thought of this. Would you still give her
You
red
can't
hair?
go like in the
Like the
mid
bright
'90s
red
and
hair?
not come past Desperado. You just can't.
Give her bright red hair. Why
Give her
not?
bright red hair?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Why not?
I'm
Put a
trying to
wig on her.
picture her with red hair. It's hard to picture her with red hair. I don't know why.
She doesn't have to have the red hair.
Or they could be
Yes,
red
she
streaks.
does. It's Black Widow. She has to have red hair.
I think if you're changing the aesthetic of the character enough that Salma Hayek is now portraying Black Widow, I think people are gonna be like, oh well, she looks just like Black Widow except that her hair is not red. I mean, like that's
It's a pretty
you're just
iconic
embracing the
part of
fact
the
that you're
character.
you're
I'm not
you're just
saying,
kinda, at
hey,
that point
hey,
you're reimagining
maybe
the character, man. You're just kind of
Although,
reimagining. Just go with
although
it.
I guess
when you look at Scarlett Johansson's hair in Iron Man 2, it was a darker red.
it's
It
true.
was it was on the darker and it was
And
curlier, like the hair right here.
and in
All I'm
Infinity
saying
War,
is
she was
not like a
blonde.
bright
So
Ronald McDonald red, but it'll be a darker color of red, little auburn maybe.
I think Ronald McDonald red is they should just put that right on the bottle when you go to dye it. It's
yeah,
just like
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Hey, I
So
got
like,
this way because that's the kind of dye that I would get for my hair.
yeah, she was blonde in Infinity War, so I guess that ruins my whole argument. So sure, I guess she doesn't have to
Infinity
be.
mean Eternals, but okay.
In what?
You mean
Infinity War?
Eternals? She wasn't in Infinity War.
I think he means Black Widow.
Black Widow. Black Widow was blonde.
Ah.
Because I was
Wasn't
making
she
such
a
a stink
blonde
about the
in
red
Eternals?
hair. Ah. I did see Eternals.
Well,
It's bad.
I'm glad
save
you guys
us
had a
from the
lot of things to
Eternals.
say about Nicole and Salma. These are fantastic powerhouse choices.
Oh
I
boy.
could give you a
Oh, boy.
1,000 guesses and you would never get to mine. This was the hardest one on my list because it was really the only role for women. So it was like, just like Dylan's like, oh, I kind of thought he'd be this person, and instead I shuffled him over to, Brad gets to be Thor instead of Captain
Sure.
America. Like there wasn't really like, oh well, I guess we'll do Captain Marvel, or this was it.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch, nothing. So
Yeah.
so it was tough, and I had some bigger name stars that I considered, and then I thought, you know what? Why not go with the actress that David Lynch, the master, said she's a mysterious girl, and I think that actresses like her who have a mystery where there's something hidden beneath the surface are really the interesting ones. Now, if a master like David Lynch is saying that about you, then I think you got the acting chops to be Black Widow in my Avengers movie. You can just put up. You're never going to guess it. I see you're trying to think of it.
Oh.
So you're not going to get
I
it.
thought like Naomi Watts, but no.
Sherilyn Fenn from
That's yeah.
Okay.
Twin
Yeah,
Peaks.
yeah.
Now she would have been 30 in 1995.
Okay.
She was a very
Good age.
she was really good in Twin Peaks, and she had some interesting film choices like boxing Helena, where she's getting all her limbs cut off and put in a literal box. And some other interesting film stuff that happened in the early 90s, but her career never really materialized in a way that like I feel like her performance in Twin Peaks deserved. I really feel that way about a lot of the actors and actresses in Twin Peaks. It just maybe outside of Laura Flynn Boyle, you could argue Colin McLaughlin, but even he wasn't like as big a star as he probably should have been for how good his performance was in that. But TV wasn't seen the same way back then as it is now.
Sure.
It wasn't like the launching pad that it is now. But she was just so great, and David Lynch was so enamored with her that he even wanted like Mulholland Drive came out of like he wanted her to be it was like a spinoff of her Audrey Horne character, and it turned into a different movie. Obviously, it didn't end up being a spinoff, but like she inspired that. He kept describing her as like a porcelain doll. He loved her you can find like an endless amount of quotes from master filmmaker David Lynch on her. But she's got great acting chops. I think I think she could pull off the action stuff. And I think she read her hair up. I think she could look the part, and she didn't have the career she deserves. So she's my pick for Black Widow.
Excellent choice.
Rewriting history.
That is a good
Excellent.
choice. That is
I
a
gotta
good
say,
choice.
just between you and me, bro, I gotta say, I think that this is the best choice for Black Widow. It is an excellent choice.
Also, I
Maybe.
didn't realize she was engaged to Johnny Depp for like 3 years, and that like in the movie Platoon, Johnny Depp had a small role, had her name on the helmet. I didn't know,
Huh.
and
Wow.
you didn't know, and now you all know. So
There you go. Well,
There
and
you go.
maybe if she was Black Widow, maybe David Lynch would have directed Avengers.
maybe we could have
Oh
gotten
wow. Oh
more Twin Peaks. Oh, David Lynch directing instead of getting like a Thor movie or something, like give the reins over to David Lynch, just
Oh
make it
my
weird.
goodness. Oh man.
Oh, like making an Ant-Man movie and he shrinks down and he's like dancing. in the red room.
All right.
Man. Now I'm
Next
excited.
up,
I'm excited.
we have Hawkeye. And not only do we have Hawkeye, but with my Hawkeye, we have our first crossover.
Oh,
really?
Not the same character, but same actor. So
Sherilyn Finn?
No.
Not the same
No.
character?
I chose Val Kilmer as
Hey,
Hawkeye.
Valley.
Now, in my Avengers movie, he's going to have a bigger role than Jeremy Renner did in the first Avengers, because we've got Val Kilmer as Hawkeye. I thought he'd be great. He could have that lighter hair. He could kind of be that free spirit. He could be kind of he could be a bit funnier, more like the comic book version of Hawkeye. And I saw it. He can be athletic. He can, he's got so much that I think he could bring to the role. And I think it would be really interesting. And I think it would be fun to see him in that role. So, so Jeremy Renner was 41 years old in 2012, and Val Kilmer was 36. So in 1995 he was in Heat, and he was in Batman Forever. And so
you guys haven't seen Heat. This drives me nuts that you guys haven't seen Heat. You gotta watch
Don't
Heat.
tell people that. Don't tell people that,
so
Charlie.
Good. All right. Dylan's seen it. Dylan knows.
I have shame upon me that I have not seen it. I don't know why I haven't seen it. I always think about I could watch that, and then I don't know why I don't.
They say that heist road is shockingly realistic. That they if they don't have it at in informational seminars with, if you're in law enforcement or something, if they should. That's what they had said. I think they actually do, though, because it was really realistic. All of the different how they did it. It was shockingly. If you see it behind the scenes for Heat.
Yeah, I know. I'll watch it. I'll watch it. But,
right, okay,
so there's my Hawkeye.
That was one of those. He could have been anybody, and
he really
could have been anyone on the list.
He could have. Yeah, I hope that he's on your list somewhere, Dylan.
Yeah,
I remember that he didn't care for playing Batman. I'll get to it. But
he was willing. He was willing to do Batman. So if he was willing to do Batman, maybe he would instead be willing to do an Avengers movie.
Yeah, and it would have been better experience because the movie would have been better, and it would have been better received.
Absolutely. All right, Tudong, who's your Hawkeye?
My Hawkeye, I thought, you know what? Hawkeye, he has a lot. Obviously it's going to be written differently, but Hawkeye usually goes along with Black Widow. I wouldn't say that they're partners, but like a team. So I was 95, and I had Desperado on the mind. I had Antonio Banderas as my Hawkeye. You can't get more just all of that kind of stuff. Look at that, man. Back in Desperado.
Yeah. It's great.
Speaking of somebody who hasn't had a whole big, huge as a career as they should have had, nowadays, I hope that this be the kind of thing that he could just kind of get into. He hasn't been in any of these superhero things, and if he hasn't been one of the actual superheroes.
He's an ex-sever.
Hawkeye. He's a spy, just like Black Widow. They're spies. They have to play different people, different characters, I'd love to see him doing different things like that. I'd love to see him suddenly being having to be a different character completely, a different version of Hawkeye, because he's a bit spy-like. But you got to stretch him. You got to stretch an actor like this. Mm-hmm. Either way, whatever they do with him, it's Antonio Banderas. You can't go wrong with Antonio Banderas.
They should bring Antonio Banderas into the MCU, like now.
Yeah, he's great.
Mm-hmm.
How has he not been in a Marvel?
He played the hero Puss in Boots.
Very true. Puss in Boots. I like that movie. I like that one. All right, Charlie. Who's your Hawkeye?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Now you guys tease me because and it's not a Jeremy Renner thing. It's just the like you're saying, he'd have a bigger role, and Jeremy Renner also wanted a bigger role, which is why we got all that time with his family in the farmland in the second sequel. Really, what the Avengers movies was missing was a very slowed down, unnecessary narrative. So that was fun to get. But one of Jeremy Renner's acting superpowers is that he when he's on screen, he seems like such a stuffy human being. He seems so uptight and buttoned up, but he's got such great comedic chops. So he seems like he's douchey or arrogant or just like you fill in the blank with whatever like the word is that you might expect him to be, but then he like subverts that completely with just like a sly look or a one liner. It's great in Mission Impossible movies. It's great in the Avengers. Like he just has this way of like seeming like he'd be like this smug pompous guy, and then but then he does this something on screen. You're like, wait, I love this guy. I want to have a beer with this guy. Let's hang out. And so I wanted someone who had a similar like pompacity,
Okay.
like something like who could give off that like, hey, I'm Hawkeye and I'm very serious. I shoot bows and arrows, and yes, I'm the weakest X-Men, but I do belong here. Like, there has to be
Avengers.
you have to have some arrogance
He's
to
not an
be like, hey,
X-Man.
I or not an X-Men. I'm sorry, an Avenger. You have to have some arrogance to be like, hey, I belong on this team
Sure.
with like all these other like supercharged heroes, and I can shoot bows and arrows. So you need an actor who can pull off like that kind of like a little bit of that arrogance, but then turn around and like not take themselves too seriously. Now,
Okay.
you may have seen this actor in some things. And he was younger than he's gonna be a lot younger than Ant. This is my biggest age discrepancy in my thing.
Okay.
But when I think of this, all I can picture is Anthony Michael Hall in the TV show The Dead Zone, where he just like had this like super seriousness to him, and then he would like do some kind of like little eyeball look, and you'd be like, oh wait, this guy's funny. And you like it is little cameos in Community. Like he has like he had a cameo in Psych for a couple episodes. Like he seems like the kind of guy who takes himself very seriously on screen, and then all of a sudden he just does something and it makes you laugh, and you're like, oh, he's just funny. You know, he got caught in I think a wave of like he bulked up huge after he didn't want to be like the Brat Pack kid. He didn't want to
Hmm.
be the nerd from like Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink. He turned down other roles in some John Hughes stuff and other like like the not Pretty in Pink. Pretty in Pink's the one he turned down that John Cryer ended up doing.
Hmm.
But
Right.
like he didn't want to be typecast in that. And you see sometimes I think with actors and actresses when they're trying to not be typecast in something that Hollywood. I think Michael Biehn, you could argue had this to an extent too. So
Sure.
they take movies that allow them to be someone other, but that usually means that the movie is not great a lot of times, right? So he ends up in some odd roles and some odd movies. He was great in Edward Scissorhands.
True. He was like the
But he kind
jock.
of like
Yeah.
just drifts like aimlessly until he lands the Dead Zone, and then like it just never quite the career never quite happened for him. He's a good actor. He's a funny guy, and this would have been the type of casting that created a lot of buzz in like 1995. Like the kid from the Breakfast Club is going to be a superhero. Like what? And people would have been like, "What are you talking about? Like that guy?" And then you'd see
Sure.
him on screen, and he'd have like that look. And he would be okay with not being like a top billing. He wouldn't be like, hey, you know what I need? A 6-minute scene talking in my kitchen. He wouldn't do that. He'd be like, hey, I'm just here. I'm happy to be on the team.
Yeah,
And then he was do his work. Anyway, I think he would have been fun in this alternate
Oh, that's
reality
a really
movie.
good pick.
That's a good pick. I do like that. How old was he in 1995?
He was like 29. So
That's
he's
not
like he
that
fits in.
bad. No, that's not
No,
bad.
it fits in with the ages of like the other cast, but and why is Hawkeye so much older? Poor Hawkeye.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't need to be. I think it's fine. That's a good pick. I do appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Good choice. Very good choice.
All right, next Hulk. Okay.
Wait.
All right. I know that I said I was proud of some of my other ones, but I'm really proud of this one. And I'm really curious to see where you guys felt with this, but I wanted somebody who could do scientist and could do some humor and could be a bit quirky maybe. And could do just a lot of the Bruce Banner stuff and then would probably be willing to do the Hulk stuff as well. And so I went with Jeff Goldblum.
Oh,
I mean,
That's
this is hit. So Mark Ruffalo was 45 for the original, and Jeff Goldblum was 43 in 1995. So he was in a couple smaller movies. He was in 9 Months. He was in Powder, and
he was in The Fly.
and he was in not in 1995.
He was in The Fly before that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm saying in 1995, he was in some not like huge movies. He was in 1995. He was in 9 Months. He was in Powder, and he was in Hideaway. Which
Oh yeah.
didn't look like much. but I was like, oh, that would be really fun to see him. Granted, he would be like a really tall Bruce Banner. He would probably be taller than I think most of the cast because I think he's a pretty tall guy.
The entire cast, except for Tolkien.
But like, look at this picture, man. He looks like he's Bruce Banner right here. He's got this oversized button-up shirt. Like I saw this picture and I was like, oh man, he's got the glasses, he got the crazy hair. Come on, can you see him hulking out?
Ooh, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
It would have been great. It would have been great. So I was
troubled waters ahead.
I love it, bro. I love it.
Oh, so I picked this and I kind of just laughed to myself for a while, and I'm cracking myself up with this pick because I love it so much.
I'm gonna be thinking about this for the rest of the week. My watch, it's letting you know my heart is beating.
Oh man. All right, Dog. I can't talk anymore. I'm laughing too much. Dog, who's your Hulk?
Oh wait, yeah, mine.
Yeah.
All right, I went in a similar vein. It was a bit more mainstream, and I kind of thought to myself, I mean, he was easily one of the more successful actors, especially in like '95. But I wanted to see him do something like this, and I thought to myself, he doesn't have to be there the entire time because his superhero character is. I mean, if you want to do the motion capture, I guess. Either way, my pick for the Hulk. Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm. Is it because he gets big and like he turns into?
There it is. This guy has worked with Antonio Banderas, so it already works out there. See, it's perfect. Hey, you're just upset because you can't do an impression of Tom Hanks as the Incredible Hulk. Not nearly as much as I could do of Jeff Goldblum, which is fantastic. He's unassuming. I could see him completely like that. Where I mean, like even back in Independence Day, Jeff Goldblum was a bit bigger. He wasn't quite so slight. Not as slight as Tom Hanks.
Oh
no, Tom Hanks is no good as Bruce Banner. You don't think he could pull off Bruce Banner?
He's great. I didn't even like think of it. It's so random.
It's random, and yet it makes sense. He's not going to be Iron Man. There's no crying in baseball.
No.
Like a super ripped Tom Hanks would have been something in the '90s. Like he gets like like goes into the Marvel gym routine and just comes out like rocking just the ripped up out of nowhere, just pulls off the shirt and you're like, what the Tom Hanks?
I mean, I know that they didn't have the technology, but it would be great to see like them use Tom Hanks's face on the Hulk. He's not scary at all. He's not frightening like in the slightest bit. He's Tom Hanks. You just want to run up and give him a hug.
Don't you want to do that with Mark Ruffalo? He's so unassuming.
It's fair.
So unassuming. If he came up and he was like, "I'm gonna hit you," and if Tom Hanks did the same thing for both of them, I'd be like, "Oh no.
And to be fair, Jeff Goldblum is kind of cuddly too, and kind of want to hug old Goldblum as well.
Maybe
he's a
I don't
monster
know.
underneath. That's right. You'd forgive him. He'd turn back and be like, "I'm sorry." And you're just like, beautiful. I love it.
I think it's important when you're thinking about a Bruce Banner. They got to be able to pull off the scientist. You're absolutely right, bro. They got to have that, that approachability, Dylan. I think you're absolutely right there. That Mark Ruffalo has a sincerity to him that I think is very endearing and charming, and like all his roles, from like 13 Going on 30 to my secret guilty pleasure, the Just Like Heaven movie. A little rom-com. It's cute with Reese Witherspoon. It's good if you've never seen it. It's it's not high art cinema, but I love Ruffalo in it. He has this kind of approachability that I think when you're watching him, you just kind of like, oh man, you know what? He just seems like a really nice guy. And so I wanted someone who had the acting chops to pull off that kind of like, that kind of like sweet sincerity the intelligence of a scientist, but also that you would believe like beneath the surface was like a smoldering rage. And
Okay.
no one could do that better than one of Tom Hanks's 1995 co-stars in Apollo 13, Mr. Ed Harris. A very good
Oh,
age
okay.
match
Yeah.
for our banner here. He's got the scientist stuff down. He's got those piercing blue eyes.
Yeah,
So when
yeah.
the Hulk is when they're doing the zoom ins, they could give the Hulk those piercing blue eyes too when he's on the rampage. And then he's like, "So Hulk sad," and they play the little piano theme from the TV show, and he walks away. And this is like he's an actor's actor. Like
Yeah.
this is like the guy that like when you ask people in the 90s and 2000s who some of their favorite actors were, Ed Harris is the guy they bring up because he just had such a great career of like just playing so many different roles in so many different ways. He was never really like a big star though. Like he was, he kind of led the abyss and he was in big movies like The Rock,
Yeah,
but like he
yeah.
wasn't like the lead. He just kind of ended up, being a good side character in a lot of things. It would have
He
been
was
fun to see him.
amazing in Just Cause. You remember him in Just Cause?
Oh, God. He's so versatile, just such a good actor. Westworld, he was so freaking good in
Oh,
Westworld.
good in Westworld.
Just such a good actor. So I would have loved to have seen him like get a chance to headline a few more movies as a good guy, and then also be part of like a great ensemble and just delivering some scene stealing powerhouse performances with those baby blues.
It's a good pick. I mean,
That's a really good pick. These are all you keep saying every single time right before. He's like, "This is the worst pick. You guys are gonna hate me for my picks," and then they end up being like the best
yeah,
picks.
and then it's
I just remember,
I
you
think
said that before Captain America shows up on the screen. Just remember that you said
I
that.
still think my Jeff Goldblum is the best, but
Jeff Goldblum's awesome.
I'm gonna be doing that impression, Brood. The
Please
rest of the week, I'll
do.
be laughing about it
Please,
so freaking hard. Jeff
please
Wouldn't
do.
like me when I'm angry. That's so good,
Okay,
Dylan. I love that.
next up we have Nick Fury. Okay,
I love my pick. I love this pick
okay.
completely.
My pick might be a little controversial
Ooh, is it a
because
young Sam Jackson?
no, because this was 1995, so we didn't have Sam Jackson, Nick Fury in the comics until 2002. We had Nick Fury Sr. And so I went with the Nick Fury Sr. character because that's who we had in 1995. And so I went with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
So put an eye patch on him and he's grumpy and he looks angry. Samuel L. Jackson was 64 years old at the Avengers. Clint Eastwood was 65. So, and all he starred in 1995 was Bridges of Madison County. So let's get him into the Avengers. I did have, I was, before I switched over to Clint Eastwood, I was like, I wonder how James Earl Jones would be as Nick Fury. So I was
just the voice
that.
alone. Just cast him. Just figure the rest out later.
Yeah. So that was really close. It was really close. But
Avengers.
I did go with Clint Eastwood as kind of the Nick Fury Sr. because if this was 1995, we would have this version. So that's what I did. But yeah, man, he'd be really intense. He'd be really like in your face. He'd be saying all the stuff with his gravelly voice.
Yeah.
Grumpy Nick Fury.
Shawarma. I never heard of shawarma. give me a steak and some egg whites.
What?
I don't know what Clint Eastwood eat. He's meat and eggs. That's all.
Probably.
He eats.
Probably. Yeah.
I don't eat. This is the face of a man who's never had a taco, or if it's a taco, it's like a hard shell with like extra sour cream and like just a little bit of chicken. I love this quesadilla that they make. The cheese.
I was trying to think of a quote from Nick Fury but I couldn't think of.
No offense to Clint, who I'm sure is the fact that he's only ever played grumpy characters in movies doesn't mean that I'm sure he's a grumpy human being in real life.
Right? Yeah, I know. I consider Tommy Lee Jones.
Has he ever played a happy character? Like in one of his old movies. All right, we'll
Bridges
talk about
of Madison County.
Never saw it. Was he happy in that? Is that a happy movie? I thought that was like a drama.
It is a drama.
but he's okay.
But he is very lighthearted in Line of Fire when he's playing the piano for
He gets shot and then like has to stop like a murder plot against the president. Like if that's as humorous and light as he gets, I don't know. He was unhappy a lot of that movie.
But Bridges of Madison County is a drama. But I was trying to pick all the pictures from all my people. The picture is from 1995, and because he was only in Bridges of Madison County, those are the only pictures. And in every picture, he's smiling. Like it was such a struggle to find him not smiling for this picture, because I'm like, it can't be the only like.
That is the first time in the history of time that someone has went to look for a picture of Clint Eastwood and was like, man, I can only find him smiling.
How come he smiles so much?
He's like smiling all the time. He's so happy. He felt lucky. I don't know. It's a good pick, bro. I hadn't considered the comic era.
Yeah. All right, Tudong.
I didn't consider that either.
That's all right.
I have to say I went I did more contemporary Nick Fury, but you want to go back to 95. I did also. James Earl Jones did cross my mind until I found the perfect Nick Fury. Go ahead and throw it up, bro. Louis Gossett Jr. Come on.
That is good.
Speaking of a guy who should have had a bigger career.
Yes.
Oh, he was so great. He was fantastic.
I didn't even think of that.
I loved him in Enemy Mine. He was, I couldn't believe that was even him. He was in Jaws 3. He was in Iron Eagles, An Officer and a Gentleman. He is fantastic. And I would have loved to have seen him take on Nick Fury.
Oh, that's good. That's a great pull.
That is a good pick. That is a good pick. I didn't even think of that.
Thank you.
This is my most conventional choice. I think of all these. I thought this was going to be like kind of an obvious one and there would just be a bunch of crossover and then we would all just kind of.
Can I guess it?
Because it's just, you can guess it. Yeah, of course.
Is it Morgan Freeman?
Why don't you flip that slide and let's find out, Sonny.
Nailed it, because he was pretty up high on my list too.
And look, I even dragged a little eye patch over onto him just so you can picture.
Love it.
Picture the eye. He was like 58 at the time, but hey, if you're telling me an actor born in 1937 isn't old enough to play Nick Fury, then I say 1937.
Yeah, that's really old.
Like more. What can you say about Morgan? Except he's got the. Sam Jackson is like one of one. Like his ability to just like command a scene with like just that I don't even know how to describe it. Like he just has this ability to be angry and loud and funny and just like charming and charismatic. There's just like that intensity that he just possesses. I've just never seen anybody else be able to do that. There are plenty of actors who can be loud. There's plenty of actors who can give you the crazy eyes. There's plenty of actors who can be charismatic, but like just to be able to pull it all off the way he does in a performance is just like something so unique to Sam. But I wanted to find someone that had like a gravitas to them and like a great voice. Like really like in a weird way, Nick Fury in the Avengers movies is kind of like almost like the narrator. And like he's like got this through line and who's a better narrator than Morgan with that voice of his, coming off the heat of Shawshank Redemption, which is one of the best movies of all time. Morgan doesn't need this for his career. He's had an amazing career. But he never got in like a big a big franchise like this. So
Robin Hood.
I mean, he was Lucius
it wasn't
Fox
a franchise.
in Batman. Come on. He didn't even get a good role. Come on, give him the good role.
Let him be Batman.
Yeah, let him be Batman. Damn it. But yeah, like this would be a fun. This is kind of a little on the nose, but I like it. It's like I'm picking people I like. So I can veil my methodology in a lot of different ways, but I'm like, pick this guy. He'd be great. I like Morgan.
He was very high on my list. He was very high.
Yeah, actually, me too.
We should do some just misses at the end because I think it'd be fun to hear some of those too. So stay tuned.
Okay, next up, we got a big one. Captain America. Oh, Charlie, I'm terrified about yours. I don't know if I want to know yours.
You probably don't.
We might just skip yours. I don't know.
I think that's probably smart.
If it's Tom Hanks, I don't know.
It's Tom Hanks.
Okay, so
I didn't expect that kind of crossover.
My Captain America is an easy one, right? It's Brad Pitt. Dylan mentioned this.
I thought of that.
Dylan mentioned it with his that he was his cap, and then he moved him, and it was like almost. This one was very easy. It was I was kind of like, yeah, Brad, you've got kind of the blonde, you've got the blue eyes, he can be like ripped, he can
in Civil War, like you've already seen them in Interview with the Vampire, and at odds.
So I don't even know that there's so Chris Evans was 29 years old for Avengers, and Brad Pitt was 32. So he only started. He only started. He was in 7 in 1995. This picture is from 1993, but that's because in 1995 he had like the longer hair, and I wanted something that better captured the hair. So this picture,
it's good because we can't picture Brad Pitt, so this is good.
I know. That's what I had to get a better hair. I had to get better hair. I had to get more Captain America hair. So
give him the cap hair.
Yeah. So there's mine. It's I feel like mine is really predictable. I don't even know. Like, I don't know.
That's good. That's good. It's good to have good to mix in some predictability. I like it.
All right, Tudong.
But yeah, Brad could have been a lot of these characters. He would have been great in the MCU.
Absolutely.
Totally. Well, and we have him in the MCU. He's Vanisher, right? In the Deadpool movies.
Oh yeah. That's right.
So,
I mean,
technically he is. Technically he
I know,
is.
but that's like technically Nathan Fillion's in Guardians.
All right, Tudong, who's your cap? Since you don't have Brad Pitt.
It's got to be a young Nathan Fillion, right?
Nathan Fillion? Is it Nathan Fillion?
You had a chance to give him the role of a lifetime at like the age of 23 or something. Come on.
No, I wanted somebody who was popular, but I wanted to go a very different route because I thought to myself, I could have Val Kilmer be, Cap, and he was at odds again with Tom Cruise's character in Top Gun. So they have that, but I was just like, he so didn't want to play Batman, and he didn't like it. And I thought Batman is a much better character than Captain America anyway, so he'd like this even less. So I completely took him off the list, and I was really looking at. You're not going to guess who this is. Let me throw that out right there. I was looking at a lot of popular actors in 95. And one of the more popular actors, I was like, you know what? I really like his acting chops. I don't know how this would work, but I'd love to see him make this work. It is unbelievably... go ahead and throw it up, bro. 95, it's Wesley Snipes. It's Blade himself. I wanted to see him do something like this. And I thought, Joe, like his physique is already basically Captain America. So I now have on my history Wesley Snipes shirtless in 95 on my history, and I was just like, hey, you know what? It was worth it. Totally
things you could have in your history.
I don't know how this could be made to work, but I'd love to see it. I'd love to see how it could. He is a very underrated actor. People are like, yeah, Blade or this or that or whatever it is. And yes, he does action. And he was one of the top actors in 95, which I was like, yeah, all right, that makes sense.
What year was Demolition Man? Was it 95?
I think so.
Demolition Man was 94.
94. Okay, so he would have been coming right off Demolition.
Oh, the video game was 94. Demolition was 93.
So he would have been coming somewhat off of Demolition.
I love his acting, and sometimes when you have a character like this, you put in an actor that can make very interesting choices. Chris Evans is fantastic. I love a lot of the stuff he did before and after Captain America, but especially before. Wesley Snipes, I think, is an underrated, fantastic actor, and I would love to see how they would make this work because I'm sure he could get there. I love it. He bulk up just a little bit more. Look at that; it's nuts. I
think that might have been a different search that you were doing.
A different what?
A different search that you were doing.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah.
He said,
Oh,
look at that. It doesn't matter. Sorry.
No, this is a good pick.
Anyway, he was one of
It's
the
a
top, he
kind of
was
the
one of the top paid actors in
unconventional.
'95, and I'm like, this is great. I'd love to see him do this. I love seeing what he brings to different roles.
It's kind of an
This is a good outside
unconventional,
the
but
box
it's
pick.
yeah,
And
yeah, it's
my only
neat.
gripe would be that then we don't get Blade. And gosh, he was good
Ah,
at
still
Blade. But
playing
if he
Blade
could
too.
have him do both, or or we're in the multiverse, we can watch him as Blade and as Captain America.
There you go.
Uh,
But man, I love Wesley.
Mhm.
Uh, he went on a good run. That early '90s, White Man Can't Jump
mm,
and Passenger 57, Demolition Man, like Rising Sun, if you're into that kind
mm.
of thing. Drop Zone in the battle of great parachuting action films. It was a good run. I love me some
Sure.
Wesley. Major League, one of the best movies of all time. My Captain America is, I guess maybe a little bit more conventional in some ways than your pick here, Dylan, but also less of a star. He's the exact right age, same age as Chris Evans when he took the mantle in Avengers. He had been, a lead who could play menacing, who could play romantic, who could play action hero. And he would later go on to basically become Captain America in a long running hit TV series. I mean, they called him something else, but he's really a jack of all trades when you think about him. And that's, he's got the acting chops that he inherited from his father. He's got the sweet baby blues. Dylan once told me he was a better actor than Robert Downey Jr. I don't know about
I
that, but
never
they're
said
both
that.
fantastic actors. Go ahead and put it up, bro. Captain America himself, Mr. Kiefer Sutherland, Jack
Yes.
Bauer. He's got everything that you'd want, right? Look, Captain America's got to have sincerity, right? There's got to be just some kind of sincerity. He's doing like these ridiculous. He's got to wear the shield. He's got to wear the outfit. Uh, there's like a sincerity in Chris Evans' performance, and he's
Yeah.
funny. Chris Evans is very funny. And one of the things that people were worried about when he was cast was like, oh, can he pull off the serious? Can he pull off the sincerity?
Sure.
And he does. He really does. Like just he can deliver those lines, and you think he means that. He believes that. I think he really kind of showed out that he's an actor with a lot more range than you might have expected. Kiefer at this point in time, maybe you could say, oh, he doesn't have the comedic chops to be captain, but he's funny and stuff. He was funny in like was it Flashback with Dennis Hopper, and he was funny in the D'Artagnan, the Three
Three
Musketeers.
Musketeers.
Yeah.
He had some young guns under his belt.
Yeah.
But he also could like pull off the serious. If you've seen 24, he's got like that kind of like beaten but never broken, down to a pinpoint, and he can just deliver lines with just like a sincerity and like that gravelly like, all right, Avengers assemble. Like he could, oh come on, he could deliver that with like some heat. Kiefer, great actor.
Why did you
Underrated.
think
Hearing
we were
you
going to hate
wax
this?
poetic like that, and that you're going to then try and convince people that that I was saying that he's a better actor than Robert Downey Jr.
You look. I like them both. You liked Kiefer a little bit better than Robert. I love Robert. Is fine, but it's history. Don't worry about it.
Unbelievable.
I loved Kiefer. He was my favorite part of Young Guns back in the day when I was.
That's true. That's true. Of course it is. Of course.
Why did you
Even in
think we
Lost
were going to
Boys,
hate this,
Phillips in
Charlie?
here.
Well, I don't know. It's he's not like
I think this is a great
he's a
pick.
different actor than like Chris Evans. Like if you put him next to Chris Evans, like pre Captain America Chris Evans and stuff like Chris Evans is like he's more of like your conventionally handsome all American guy who's got like a lot of humor and charm, and he's got that. He's a handsome man. He's got charm and stuff, but he's
Has
got
he ever
a little bit more
up for a role?
underdog. He could.
I know he could. No, of course he could. I was just curious if he had ever done that or anything.
I don't know. But it was the '90s, right? Like he could just,
He could have.
everyone was just taking steroids. He would have he would have gone from Lost Boys, Kiefer Sutherland to just like Arnold walking around. I'm Captain America. I'm gonna hold the chopper down with one pinky and just like get it.
This is a good pick.
This is a really good pick. It's a really good pick.
Okay.
I don't know why
I
you
wasn't,
thought
I
we were
wasn't
gonna...
sure if, how it would be received. You guys are
Also,
sweet.
did you know that Kiefer Sutherland's full name is Kiefer William Frederick Dempsey George Rufus Sutherland?
It's like he needs more names. I think is what
Yeah.
I've always said. If he just had like 7, he would have been a bigger star. Have you guys seen Flatliners? That was pretty fun.
All right. Well, we
Oh,
have
you've
our
seen it.
final one, and that's our villain, Loki. This is it. We're gonna finish up, especially because we're at an hour already.
I like my villain. Oh, are we really? Oof.
What?
Yeah, this is a long
All
one.
right.
We've got 8 people.
Go fast.
All right. Okay.
Sure.
My Loki. I needed somebody who could handle a Loki, be a little bit weird and a little bit out there, but be the right age, and could handle Loki as kind of be kind of on his own against this full team. And I thought of it. I said, I know. It's Johnny Depp. I think that Johnny Depp would be a really interesting Loki. He can bring kind of some of that weirdness, you know. So Tom Hiddleston was 31 when he played Loki in Avengers, and Johnny Depp was 32 at this time. Back in 95, he was in Nick of Time and Dead Man. So throw him in the Avengers as the main villain. Look at this. He could totally do a Loki. You guys don't.
Who's
You
your
guys
Thor?
aren't
Who's your
sold
Thor
on
again?
this. What's his name? Russell Crowe.
Oh, interesting. I'd like to see that. Yeah.
And so you've got a buffer Russell Crowe, you know, with kind of a smaller framed Johnny Depp. You know, I think it'd be good. You guys aren't convinced by this. I can tell by you guys are like not showing anything. I'm not getting any nods of approval or any like nods of disdain. I'm getting nothing from you guys. Nothing from you guys.
I'm picturing him just doing it like Jack Sparrow.
That's kind of what I was thinking, was like it would be a little bit out there, you know?
Like, hey, as long as he doesn't go full like his like molester version of Willy Wonka that he did.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Not that one. I mean, he wouldn't. Yeah, not that.
But yeah, he was a big deal in the 90s.
That's true.
And hey, you know, and we got his fiance is already like cast. His old fiance is already cast in the Avengers in my universe. So why not? Let's get reunite those crazy kids.
So there you go. There's my Avengers lineup.
I can see it. I can see it.
Capping off with Loki. Tudong, how about you?
Sure, bro.
Same picture, even. I love it.
Same picture. He's like, I'm sitting here nodding the whole time, trying not to give anything away, but still the entire time. And he's like, I get nothing from you, Tudong. And I'm like, I'm sitting here nodding. And I also don't want to give it away, but I didn't say that.
What a great pick. We did have a crossover. Same actor, same character.
For some reason, I was like, yeah, maybe this will crossover. And then it's on. I'm like, it's the same picture and everything.
That's awesome.
My Thor is Brad Pitt. And I mean, I think that I would like to see that. Those two in like a scene. Jeez, they're both gorgeous. Gorgeous. When Brad Pitt was doing Ocean's 11 and he was standing next to Matt Damon, I'm like, Matt Damon, what do you get off the screen when he's on the screen? Don't do this to yourself. It is terrible. But seeing Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt in the scene, and they're like brothers, it's that just to me would be really fun.
I agree.
Well, spoiler alert, I did not select Johnny as my Loki. I wanted a really good actor who could really carry that role, because it's really like one of the big threads through the MCU. And so it had to be someone who was funny, who could do action, who could deliver a line with the best of them, and just someone who had like a little bit of that just kind of rascal. So go ahead and pop mine up here. I was pretty happy with this one. Give me Gary Oldman.
Oh yeah.
He's I think with he was like 36. He was within 1 year of like Val Kilmer's age.
Thor, Val Kilmer. That's right.
So they were like 1 year apart in age. I don't remember which direction.
Seeing those two,
seeing those two kind of get to play off each other, and kind of, you know, he had the long hair for Dracula. He had the long hair for Scarlet Letter. He had long hair in Harry Potter. You know, he can rock he's just a lot of different looks. And then if you look at his mid-90s stuff, I mean, like he was in a bunch of random things. Like he was all over the place. You know, from Dracula JFK, where he was Lee Harvey Oswald. True Romance. He got Leon the Professional. He was the bad guy in Air Force One. He was in The Fifth Element. Like he just can do so. He has so much range. And he was a big star on the time, and he's just really like a really good actor. You want him to do like a British accent? You could do that because I think he is British. But you want him to talk American? You can do that too. Give you hello. I don't know. I'm doing a different accent. You guys don't know what an American sounds like. Something. Hello, it's me. I'm an American. Yes.
Total American.
But I think it'd be really fun, like just to have him in the MCU, like at the height of his his powers, when he's just kind of doing all these fun roles. It would have been really like a really likable Loki, like. And that's like one of the things that like you have. And Tom Hiddleston, I think, does a good job of like because it'd be really easy to be fatigued with that character if if you had like a Jim Carrey type or something, and you're just okay, that's a lot. There's a lot, and you're going to put him in another movie, and it's like, oh man, one was a lot, two, three. So I think this would be kind of like a good. He could do it like subtly when it needed to be subtle, but then like really kind of come alive and be crazy when it needed to be. So. This is my pick, and this was fun, man. What a fun!
This was super fun.
Yeah,
we do hope to do more of these because I think this went well, and I'm real happy with it. And so, look for more of these coming up at some point. I don't know when. At some point.
My favorite is Jeff Goldblum as the Hulk. I'm going to be thinking about that, like I said, all week. It's fantastic.
Pretty great.
Oh,
there are some good picks. This would be fun. This would be a fun exercise to do. And speaking of great picks, you guys should let us know in the comments who would you pick from the 1995 Avengers, assuming that they had all the same special effects that we have today. They're traveling to. We're making movies over here, so let us know your choices. Maybe some of your favorite picks. Maybe Dylan could do a. Can you tell him to like and subscribe as Jeff Goldblum?
I don't understand. I don't. Ooh.
Well, in spite of whatever happening over there, make sure you like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.
Avengers assemble.